I know 2016, that Ireland series, not the best memory for you. It's been a long journey, sort of personally, mentally, physically for you in terms of, having to retire, forced retirement through injury. That Ireland series, and there's been a lot of water under the bridge, a lot of talk said, that incident between you and CJ Stander. I just think maybe from a player that has been there in the retirement phase, the mental battles that you've had to sort of go through over the last 8 or so years post that, you try to come back with Racing, you gave it a full go, and like, you never know when it's your time. Yours was, unfortunately for a lot of us South African fans, premature, because we still felt you had so much more to give Springbok rugby. I think, just can you take people through that journey, the mental aspect of how tough it's been, the resilience that you've needed to show in different capacities, but just give us a bit of insight into the journey over the last 8 years.
Yeah, it hasn't been easy. It's got better over time, but initially it was very difficult. Obviously, I would still like to be playing. A lot of my contemporaries are the guys running onto the field now and who've won 2 World Cups in a British and Irish Lions series, and that was always the dream, to play and to be able to finish on your own terms, kind of mid-30s when you'd had enough. In fact, I would have loved to have come back to the Sharks for one final season and transition from playing into life after rugby back here in Durban, but that's not how it worked out for me, and I'm grateful for the 9 or 10 years that I did have as a professional player, and all of the experiences that I was able to take in. 2016, it was start of a new coaching tenure with Alistair Coetzee. I felt like there was going to be a chance where I'd get a decent crack at wearing the number 10 jersey consecutively, and so it was very disappointing that I had that injury. Look, I certainly don't believe it was intentional. I think it might have just been a little bit careless or reckless, and professional sport's a game of such small margins and fine margins, and so if I had been an inch left or right, his hip wouldn't have hit me straight on my head, and I probably would have just got up again and carried on playing. But that's it. And then, like you said, I tried to carry on for another 2 years afterwards, but I was never really the same. I couldn't handle the head knocks or the big impacts like a professional rugby player needed to, a contact sport, a collision sport. And so that was the writing was on the wall, and doctors advised me that I shouldn't play contact sport anymore. But like I said, that was a very tough time, and to then work out, right, well, it hasn't gone to plan, and what next? It was difficult. As
just on the support that you had at that moment, right? Obviously the 2 years, and I know you have your family. There's the medical side of it. Were you able to properly talk to people? Did you have people in your corner that, because everyone wanted you to come back, like everyone was hoping. I know your desire was to come back, and the difficulty between the desire and the reality. Did you have an outlet to vent, an outlet to cry, an outlet to actually channel all that frustration, all that emotion, just to give people insight? Because we talk about the masculine environment which rugby is formed, and sometimes you don't want to show weakness. Did you have an opportunity to really be able to sort of vent everything?
Yeah, Shane. So I feel for my IFK who had a lot of it from me, and my mum and dad as well. We did speak, but in hindsight, I would have really benefited, I think, from having had a sports psychologist or even just a psychologist, someone to work through everything with. Whilst I was still a player, but then also for the first year or 2 or 3 since stopping. I think the mental aspect is the hardest thing. Our bodies are amazing. We can recover from injuries. Our body rejuvenates itself, but it's psychologically where you need to be strong, and where I think I could have done with a little bit more help. But All is well.
Okay.
I'm loving being a Springbok supporter.
Yeah.
They have made us so proud over the last, what is it now, 5 years?
5 years, yeah, it's been incredible.
And I'm loving raising my boys, watching the heroes of Springbok rugby on a weekend and making the whole
Jackson is
nation
now,
proud.
how's Jack? Jackson's
He's 5 and Sam's 4.
Sam's 4. And maybe
And
another one on the way.
Yeah.
But like you've got a 4-ball now, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure, is Kate going to be carrying the bags or driving the goal? Paddy, again, not to have created any song, but I think it is important to let people understand it's not always ideal. For someone that was a prodigy like you, for someone that really, had the world at their feet, the challenge that you face is not ideal. And, we've moved so far in the sport professionally. The ability to talk about our mental state of being, the mental wellness aspect, I think becomes really important because injuries are unfortunately a part of the game. So, maybe to lift the mood a little bit because, I was, like many millions of South Africans, so disappointed that you weren't able to, fulfill that opportunity to establish yourself as a great Springbok 10. The first ever Springbok from Michael House in 100 and how many years?
It's 100. It was just over 100, I think.
10 years.
Yeah.
Surely you've got a rugby field or something named after Michael House, right?
No, there was a flourish of us all around the same time.
Yeah.
So,
but you were the first. No, at the same time, right? You were 6 years ahead of the next one.
No. Pat Cilliers was shortly after.
Okay, Pat Cilliers shortly
and then Ross Grenier and Rowan Combrink. And
so
Mark Richards was also playing for the Sevens.
Okay, but so you were the first one. Pat was when 2012. When was Pat?
Pat was 2012.
2012, yeah.
Or 2013.
Okay, but we're the first. But I'm saying, boarding house, rugby field, something named after you. We might need to sort that out with Michael House.